This is Ryan Sullivan of Sci-Unison Fitness, and this video is on injury prevention and what to do once you have encountered an injury. First, we'll start with, once you walk into the gym, before you go in, you start throwing around heavy weight with any exercise, any body part, you want to make sure that you properly warm up. In my workouts, I like to call them prelim sets, where it's not a warm-up set, it's not a working set. You know, if I'm going in and I'm doing chest, I'm going to grab the 25, 30-pound dumbbells. It's extremely light for me, and I'm going to pump out a good anywhere from 18 to 25 reps. Again, it's so light that it's not going to drain me for my real warm-up sets or my working set. It's going to get me nice and warm, stretch me out, and prepare me for the heavier sets. I like to do maybe like one or two of these. You know, if you have a body part that you have problems with or you're injury prone, you may want to throw in another one. And then from there you go into your warm-up set. So you don't want to go into the gym cold, grab the 80-pound dumbbells and start repping them out. That's a recipe for disaster. Same thing with any other exercise. We want to make sure that we pay close attention to our form. We don't want to be cheating too much, use the sloppy reps, or using that force. Like let's say again we're using flat dumbbell press, for example, where it's like you're doing your reps and you're like, it's an all-out skeletal push where you're putting your joints, your tendons at risk for for injury. You want to make sure that you get a nice motion with any of your exercises. So proper form is definitely key in preventing injury. You want to push yourself. Obviously you want to push yourself with each time you work out, with each set, but you also have to keep in mind of your limitations. You also have to keep in mind of if you're injury prone or if you've had prior injuries to a certain area. The brutal truth is that if you have an injury, or if you've had an injury, it's a nagging injury, it's always there. You may have to work around certain things, maybe shortening up your rep range, maybe certain exercises try to avoid. So it's all about being smart in the gym. Also, you want to make sure that you don't push too hard too quick. If you're coming off a long leave, you were sick, or it's just a scheduled time off, your first day back in the gym, you don't want to start balls to the wall. You want to try to reload up to that. Start easy, machines, a little bit of free weight, get your body prepped, and then you can start pushing hard. In terms of what to do once you're injured, that's another issue. Another thing that you can do also to help with injury prevention is wear the right attire. If you're in the winter, it's cold outside, there's no reason to be walking around in the gym wearing a sleeveless t-shirt, tank top. It keeps you cold, the cold air. Again, when you start to get older, it's just a recipe for disaster. So that works for both injury prevention and once you're injured. So proper attire is big. Another big thing is ice for swelling and heat for healing. Once you do encounter an injury, the main thing is you want to stop swelling. The way to stop swelling is to apply ice. Ice will cut the blood flow and it'll stop the swelling. From that point on, 2-3 days out, you want to start to introduce a little more heat. Again, you can still use ice here and there, but you want to go more of heat. Ice for swelling and heat for healing. What happens with heat, things start to expand, it promotes more blood flow. More blood flow equals more nutrient delivery, faster recovery. So that helps out a lot. We want to also get in the habit, if you're injured, what helps out is a lot of warm baths. Alright, you take a warm bath, submerge the injured body part. In my case, it would always be my shoulder. Submerge the injured body part. Use some Epsom salt in the water and sit in there, let it soak up, and increase the temperature. The thing is, once you get out of the bath and you're already warm and you're hot, you want to take advantage of that and you want to do some stretches, because at that point now everything's hot, everything's expanded, everything's loose. This is the point where you want to start doing your stretches. You also want to make sure you do your stretches at the gym before your sets. I like to use a resistance tube. You can be very flexible with this in terms of what to do for like your shoulders, your triceps, biceps. Resistance tubes are definitely a good stretching tool. What else we got here? You want to make sure that you get adequate rest time. Overtraining will definitely lead to injuries. If you're feeling run down, you're not feeling like you have the pep, your joints are starting to ache and starting to hurt, listen to your body, and taking a day or two off will actually do you better in the long run than always pushing through those naggers. You know, listen to your body and adjust your schedule accordingly. Again, we talked about proper attire and again, proper warm-ups. Again, proper warm-ups will help avoid injury, but once you do have an injury, you want to pay close attention. Now, if I know I have a shoulder problem, you know, when I go in to do chest or shoulders, you know, I'm not running in there and lifting the heaviest amount of weight right out of the bat. I'm doing a lot of prelim sets and getting moving. I'm going to use the resistance tube. I'm going to get the stretches in. Proper attire, warm bath. Now in terms of things to apply to injuries. I like to use, you know, your standard muscle rub. You know, you put that on. I like to put it on before I train. You know, maybe before bed or when I'm, you know, when I'm going to take before I take a shower. Stuff like that works. I like to stack the muscle rub along with something called DMSO. With the DMSO, you want at least 90% purity. What DMSO is going to do when you mix these two, the DMSO will bring the muscle rub deeper into the skin, which will get you into your injury. It'll help loosen things up. This by itself will help loosen things up, but when you mix it with a muscle rub and create, you don't want it too liquidy, but when you add this chemical to this, it'll bring it into the skin a little deeper. You got to make sure that you're not wearing any dyed clothes because it can pull the dye into your skin. It's extremely potent. And also, watch out, you don't want to overuse it because then it'll start to actually burn your skin. So if your skin's super sensitive, you may want to, you know, ease into something like this, or you know, you may not be able to use it at all. I like to use stuff like that, especially with more serious injuries like I've had in the past, especially like shoulder, stuff like that. And you know, with aches, you know, I've had elbow surgery before, so regular muscle rub does the job. I've had knee surgery, regular muscle rub does the job. Things like ibuprofen will also help inflammation and pain. Vitamin C, I like to use. Vitamin C not only helps with overall health, but it's an antioxidant. It helps repair, you know, collagen. It makes new protein for skin, scar tissue, your tendons and ligaments. So it makes sense if you're injured to supplement heavy with vitamin C. I also like glucosamine and chondroitin. Helps out the joints. Again, proper attire. You know, for me, I have longer arms and I have very narrow wrists, so I like to use things like the wrist wraps when I'm going heavy on chest. Again, this way it helps out that joint. I've had knee surgery, so I use the knee sleeve. And something I've really come to like is something called the shooter sleeve for my elbows. I had elbow surgery. If I were to put a regular neoprene sleeve on my elbow, which I've tried in the past, it gets in the way. When I'm pressing the way it bends, it doesn't feel comfortable. The shooter sleeve made by Nike, Under Armour, it's basically what the basketball players wear. If it keeps compression, it keeps it warm, but it doesn't get in the way of lifting. If it's not going to get in the way of a basketball player taking a shot, it's not going to get in the way of your lifting. So definitely look into a shooter sleeve. It'll definitely help out. You know, so in closing, you know, injuries, you don't want them. You want to try to avoid them. When you get them, you want to make sure you take care of them. If you have to take time off, take time off. You don't want to further aggravate it where it puts you out longer. The people who are going to look the best in, you know, in fitness, bodybuilding, whether it be natural or enhanced, are the people who avoid the injuries. And when they do get the injuries, they know how to recover and recoup and get back into the gym as soon as possible. So I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, look on the site, send me an email, and you know, we'll take care of it. Thank you. Train hard, but also smart.